Welcome to my show. Welcome everybody. Welcome this guy, that guy. Everything is frozen. Is it really working? uh, it is working. It appears to be working, and I believe I may have some sort of delay. Okay, I'm going to leave. This is an interesting situation. It collapsed. I mean, I have two windows open. It didn't like the two windows. It didn't like the two windows at all. Uh, I know. Uh, because there are more people outside of YouTube watching this than everybody's watching that. Everybody's watching TV. Everybody's looking at this SpaceX thing, whether it's going to go up. I've been watching it for like a couple of hours. These guys getting loaded up and all those things. Then I thought, okay, I may do a show. Until these guys, because everybody's trying their best to get around this whole thing. Because I don't know, man. I'm not going to ever get into a contraption like that in my entire life. Okay, I will never do that. Even if you offer me a couple of $1 billion or $1 trillion, I would say, buddy, keep all your billions and trillions. I'm not going to put my ass in there. So I will rather sit here and get my root all down than get into that thing and fly up there, because I strongly believe our place is down here on Earth. By these are scientists and whatever they are. uh, Now, coming down to an apology for loving. This is a poem that got an incredible response. Even in the middle of Ramadan, people from India and Pakistan, who are the majority of my readers in on my lonelypoet.com and my Facebook. Most of the people are on there. Um, from Pakistan, India, South America, that's where my readers come from. People from United States, I don't know whether they even see the ads which I post, on Facebook when I do the promotion. These days, I don't do any promotions much because I have enough subscribers to actually deal with there. Some of the posts, really flop. I know some posts, really doesn't get any likes at all. Um, Basically, there is an attraction part which I put in there, which is a very attractive female picture. So I can see, it is 98% men, 2% women. So I'm very honest here. I have nothing to hide. See, I don't hide behind private accounts. I don't block people just because I don't like them, or I don't like them seeing my posts. Things like, I don't do that. I block people who are trolls and interrupters. Who comes there and make all kind of problems and just question my intentions and all the other things which are associated with it. Some people accuse me of doing weird things, trying to attract their wives, their children, their sisters, their some even said, okay, my boy is actually reading too much of your poem. That was a long time back. I mean, when I was actually doing a show in a totally different website, at that time, a guy came and accused me, saying that, okay, his boy is watching my live shows a lot, because I said, okay, my show is actually not doing anything weird. I'm not undressing, or I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking your son to come to my show. Well, of course, and I do a live show, so I'm inviting people to come and watch my show and read my poems. I don't really do anything else other than read poems. Say my opinion on things. At that time, I used to be have political opinions too, because there was a war going on. It was like 2004, 2005 time. Because of the Gulf War, was going on. It was during that time when Saddam Hussein was getting hanged. I actually shown this, the videos that are coming in. and I shown the videos and I said, okay, look at this. We screwed up the whole thing, and now we are hanging the guy who is the only guy who actually said anything truthful in this whole matter, because we went there, dug up almost everything there. You couldn't find one bit of, what WMD, that was the word at that time. Now, said all that, it's all behind, long time back. But yeah, I'm very honest when it comes to online, because I have, 4,900 people, even after culling a lot of these extreme liberals and the extreme conservatives and those kind of too much of politically opinionated people, or I would say political ideologues, people who are following some sort of ideology on my this thing. Ideology of all kind. I'm not a follower of any of the ideologies of any kind. Um, that is one part of the thing. So I don't do any of those things. I don't really. I am a person who actually see less of I than more of others, and it may be very difficult for you to understand that, because most of the people, especially people in the United States, uh, tend to have the habit of failing to understand that general concept. Uh, Less of I and more of us. And I have seen people failing to understand that, because everybody is raised as an island, and there is an ideology around every house, whether it is a political liberalism or conservatism or libertarianism or whatever isms out there. Communism, even communists are there, of course. All these things, they are all out there. That is there inbuilt in their mind. That is the most beautiful thing my parents always did. They exposed us to everything, religiously, socially, ethically, energetically, whatever you call it. They exposed us to everything, gave us the opportunity to be to be part of everything, but at the same time guided us to be us, just those individuals. That was a very, very beautiful thing my parents did. If I am a parent, I will raise my kid as that. I would definitely do that. I mean, I don't want my children, or our children, in that matter, I would say, the because that's what I learned about parenthood. That two people should be together. It's not a single parent life. I don't agree with that. When I see people raising children by themselves, whether it is men. I have one of my friend raising a kid, all by himself. Another friend, he is actually raising two kids all by himself. Um, I tell them, you are missing the other side, and it's very difficult to get that. And I know a lot of women who raise single parents, raises their kids all by themselves, and end up in a very tough situation when it comes to a guidance from the other parent. I have seen the worst of it. So I truly appreciate some of the people who are, let me tell you, who stay in a marriage, in a tough marriage, in rough marriage. Once you get married, you have a problem, and then but they stay in it, so that for their children, they know this very well. What I am saying, say two people should be together raising the children. Single parents can raise monsters, and I have first hand experience on that. Not my parents. I mean, I have seen directly have the bad effects of those single parenthoods. Um, it is horrible, and don't do that. I mean, if you are committing on something, commit it for life. That's what I would definitely say. Commit it for life. There are people. I was not recently, a couple of years back. I was talking to my nephew last year, not this year, not 2 years. Last year, I was talking to my nephew, and there was this girl he's dating, and it was a very quick conversation I had. My sister-in-law was opposed to this connection, because my sister-in-law's concern was that she got too many tattoos, and I was like, really? At that time, I think it is. yeah. At that time, I told her a while back I rejected a girl because she got a tattoo. And I mean, it's not one tattoo. I mean, the entire hand is filled with a tattoo of a raven trying to eat a snake or something like that. Yeah, some creature, a dragon. So it is that. It's a beautiful picture. She is an amazingly pretty girl. So this looks awesome on her hand. I said it's an artwork on her hand. But even though I didn't really like it, and I said, okay, we are going into a serious relationship at that time. This is before all little bows and all the other things. If we need to get seriously into something, we have to make sure you have to make sure you don't have this. So because that's just me. I mean, I'm not a tattoo guy. I don't really put tattoos or anything on my body. I don't think anybody. The only thing I have is this ring. This is in this my right hand. This is my right hand. The rings change. This change or some other ring may come up. This ring never changes. This is the one ring. So so most people actually say that's the only thing I have. I don't really pierce my body or put tattoos in it. My nephew already have piercings. He got a nose piercing, and I was like, women does that in India. So what is your idea? He's in Kansas. He's a good guy. Um, so that when you are young, you'll do all that. When I was young, I had long whiskers. And no mustache and long hair. I did all that at that time. My uncle actually told my mother, at this age, you can do all that. Yeah, when you are 24, I was like 23, 24 years old at that time. Actually, that's a good age to say. But once I went past the mid 20s part, I was, I didn't get serious. There is that, natural shift of things, so you ended getting to another phase of life. When that happened, it was not more serious, but it was very casual. I kind of got rid of all those habits. But, then I came to United States, of course. Then I became much more younger. I know these guys are really, really want to. Okay, that's something else. Okay. So let me have a gulp of my tea. Okay. Oh, I made this. This is a special tea. Damn, it's hot like hell. Woo. So said all that. An apology for loving. There is not a lot I can say about the poem. When you see the poem, you will understand why I'm not saying it, because most of this blog is within that poem itself. So I took the blogging thing, and I'm actually putting it in there. Uh, and I briefly mentioned about what is the poem. So let's come to all that. Let's come to the after, burning of, this. Let me see. I hope it doesn't crash again. What is this about? Yeah, this is a, man, I don't know how to actually say this is Ho'oponopono. Do you know what that is? Mm, it is actually a psychological thing. I was actually watching a self-help video on YouTube in which a guy was actually saying Ho'oponopono. This is the name of that technique. There's something. It is actually to, when you have negative things happening in your life, when there is too much of negativity you are feeling in your life, you actually have a self reassuring thing, which is basically what it says is, I am really sorry. Please forgive me. Uh, Thank you. I love you. So this is when you screw up financially, you take a dollar and look at it and say that. When you screw up with a person, in a relationship, you take the picture of that person, look at her or him, and you say that. When I say relationship can be, just not a romantic one. There can be friendly relationship, things like that. Everything can collapse. So we need to have that ability to go and stand up for ourselves and speak for ourselves and get get to the point of where I'm really sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And then that's the third part. First of all, I'm sorry, please forgive me, that apology, and seeking that forgiveness. Then comes a thankfulness for that, for that at least listening. Forgiveness is not an easy thing for many people to do. Then you say I love you, because whether you forgive me or not, I still love you. So this is where the start. That's I'm that's I didn't really give the full detail about it in the blog. So I just said, I watched a self-help thing, and then I said, this is what it is. Um, and The reason why I came out with such an idea, because there was this idea that was in my head, so I noted down some part of it in here, and there was this prayer, which I have seen. I'm going to read out the prayer. Um, Even I pray, when of course, when a Hindu prays, they have specific gods, associated with each and every groups. And When a Jewish person, they call it Jehovah. When a Christian person says Jesus. When Buddhist, he will call Buddha. I don't know Buddha is ever a god, but when Muslims say, "Oh Allah," but generally when you're saying, "Oh God, I am weak, so grant me strength, and I am humiliated, so grant me honor, and I am destitute, so grant me sustenance. Have mercy on me by your mercy, oh, the most merciful of the merciful." And it's a beautiful prayer where you are saying every shortfall that happened from you, and then you are seeking what is necessary. So when you have that kind of a communication to God, you will not hear anything. I mean, if you are a true believer, if you are a fantastic believer, there will be zero thing you will hear, into you. Things just happen, then you follow that. I mean, that's a true believer. There are people who hears and they say, "Okay, I was talking to God. God actually told me to do things." And you know what, buddy? God is not talking to you. And let me, wake up call. God is not talking to you. God doesn't talk to anyone. Okay, God is not sitting there to answer each and every person individually. That doesn't happen. And if you are hearing, that is some sort of a devil thing whispering into you. It may sound very good, it may sound very divine, everything will come, but at the end of the day, that devil is going to screw you and throw you into hell. That's what's going to happen. So don't follow that's very, very, very clear. I had some of my users, coming to me, and when I actually, talk to them, communicate with them, this is happening. I mean, it's not just one religion, many religious groups, whom I have seen, God is communicating with me. I said, "Oh my God, then we have a problem with there." Yeah. And I don't deal with people like that. I mean, I was like, "Okay, man, you take good care of yourself." Because I don't criticize other people's beliefs. Many people believe in many different ways. The same God, they have a different way. I have noted that, in one of my posts, and I don't know which one it is. Then, I have said on another note, the kind of roughness a person can actually face on a specific day. When some days you do things and you have stumbling blocks coming at you. It can occur from a very bad state of sleep, so where you are not getting proper sleep. So you wake up, you are in a mental condition where the chemicals in your brain, and the frequencies and the signals from your brain is not absolute. It's not perfect. So even there itself, you are imperfect. So the energy around you that actually resonates every feeling that comes from you, excuse me, that is going to go bad. So people who are looking at you are going to get that negative feeling. We call it a negative feeling, but it is not absolutely negative. It is maybe super positive. This tea is incredibly tasty, but unfortunately, it is very hot. I should have actually, made it a little more cooler, but I just immediately took it and brought it here. Um, the the reason why I'm saying this is okay. Okay, let me come to that. What was I saying? I kind of lost my thought there. Um, Let me see. Bad things. Why when we call these things negative, but it's sometimes is super positive. Sometimes happiness of an extreme kind can actually go and bite you from behind, and you don't even know that that is happening. In the same way, the positiveness which you need to bring into life, why always positive is not going to be the best of the options. Um, the reason why I'm saying that is an event. Every person appears to be in the middle of an event for whatever reason. But when you look around, then you'll understand you are not an island, even though you want to be. There are other people who are directly getting linked to this, who are directly affected by even the smallest actions. And those people, whether they love you, whether they hate you, whether they, just, it's not hatred, whether just don't want to do anything with you, but they know you exist, isn't it? You are part of their thought, you are part of their life. Then you have to take responsibility of that event, that scenario. Then even the most negative thing somebody does becomes not so negative, like in the negative sense. When, like, for example, I said something to someone at that time, during uh, it was in 2016, 17, I think, yes, 2017, Thanksgiving. I told somebody, it's actually Black Friday. I told somebody, I wish you the best of the best at your work. Congratulations on the new work. I wish you the best of. This is what I am mentioning. So I am completely trying to do something positive. The immediate response was that person blocked me on Facebook without even a word. And so when you look at that from a perspective, it is a negative thing that is happening. But for that bit of a moment when that person is deciding, okay, I'm going to block this person out, I have to take responsibility that I did something that made that person do it, go into the negative. So I need to be responsible for my action that took that person into the negative side to do something negative. It may be very positive for that person, but it's negative for me. It is negative in the eyes of 100,000 people out there. That's what I'm actually saying, basically. When you are alone, you feel like you are in the middle of everything you are getting into. And you are the reason for many things happening to people. It's all looked at from I. I think initially I said I is should be down. Us, we, that should be taking the priority over all these I aspect. Because long time back, very long time back, one of my religious teachers actually told me, on the day of judgment, the first thing God says, when all the people are resurrected back into action, back into life, there is a day of resurrection. Everybody is resurrected from that. Billions and billions of people. They will come like locusts. That's what God described. They will come out like locusts out of the ground, because that's what locusts does. They will sprout out of the ground and flow out in millions. They will come like that, and we all stand together, and God will come. And the first thing God will ask is, where are all those kings who were in pride, said, I? Where are those things? That is the first question God will ask each and every one of the people. Because for each and every one of us, we are the king. No, I am not a king. I am a humble servant of God. That's it. And if you are a true believer, you will believe this thing by heart. I know there are a lot of people who don't even have any godly belief. There are people who were trained in a godly belief, lost their godly beliefs. But no, I don't follow any of those people. I don't really honestly, sincerely follow a lot of these religious people either. I have learned a lot of things, by now. I'm 50 years old. I think I have the ability to understand, okay, yeah, I'm good at this. I know what this is. If I cannot comprehend it, then I have to ask somebody who is an expert in comprehending it. But now I have already talked to enough people who comprehended this and gave me the idea how to comprehend things. So that's the reason why I'm saying I should be down, 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 down. We need to keep down the I. We we need to talk to, and we need to be part of 7 billion people out there. We are part of those 7 billion people. If we stand here and say I, there is a point at which we are going to understand we are disconnecting. I said dislocating, disconnecting from this. That's where we come to. That's where I came to a point at which, and I said, okay, an apology for loving. I think you understood where I was coming to, because I loved a person, and I love that person every day morning when I wake up. I wake up with that good feeling. And even if I wake up disconnected from everything, like I said, sometimes you may not get the perfect sleep. Sometimes you may be having a neck pain. Sometimes you may have a back pain when you wake up, because the way you sleep. When you get up, you have that feeling of, oh, where is she? What is she doing? She's not with me. Or, some other thing. And that bad feeling, then what do? Then you are reiterating from your own projections and all these good things. And then you erase all that negative feelings out. But one of the times when I actually wake up, when I was sitting there, on my bed, because when I wake up, I immediately sit for like in about 5 minutes before I get up, So that's the time when I actually do all these, self-assuring things. At that time, I said, okay, maybe, like I said, when I put her in a position of negativity to block me out, and recently again she needed to block me out. Um, it was, out of blank thoughts. I just did things which forced her to block out. Then I realized at that time, isn't it possible that I put her in a situation where I love her, and she did not have the exact kind of resonating feeling back to me, and I put her in such a way that where she is actually coming to a point of all kind of negative situations or negative feelings, which she is actually putting herself into, to disliking me, even though in reality she's not even exactly disliking me. But I am putting her in the situation where it is. That's why I'm saying, it is from that's the idea. That's where the idea really started. Even though it went in a completely different direction as to where this poem is. This poem is, I took that one phrase, an apology for loving. Then I said, I need to apologize to her for loving. I need to apologize to God for loving, because by my love, I put somebody else in a tough spot, which I should not have. Basically, it took about 30 minutes for me to actually come out and say this, because then only you are going to understand that one paragraph which I have written there. Getting to this poem was tough, as I had no idea what to really make of a good feeling. Then I watched the video of someone giving self help training. He said something that stuck with me, and then I fell back to the idea. When you read this, you will get the whole idea. It is not that complicated. The poem says, sorry, forgive me, then a sincere thank you, and then express the love. That's it. There are other things which I said about the another note part, which I told a little before. Um, I have to say this before, because when I'm actually explaining, the idea behind this is to explain the whole blog post, which takes about an hour. But still, we haven't reached that hour. I gave an hour because I think these guys are going to fire this rocket up right now. If that happens, I will actually watch that for a minute. I want to see this. But little boss, I didn't really mention you in my last one. Yeah, so that's one of the things. I didn't really mention her in a post right after the blog. The next post that happened, it came out in such a way that I didn't really mention her. Usually, for the last 2 years, I am mentioning her in every post. That particular post, which I will bring later, I didn't really mention, even though it was about her. It did. I didn't. And I clearly say, I love you no matter what. And let me tell you this: in my entire life, many people have hurt me emotionally, so I am okay. Seriously, I am okay. It is just that I don't feel it is an end. See, that's the thing. It, I will come to that. It is not an end part there, but let me finish reading it. My love for you will never end because I spent my entire life weaving my love for you, beginning learning from heartache after heartache. I dedicated the poem to her. What I meant by saying this is not an end is, see, when you give somebody a negative feeling, that person is, you are turning on something. When you give a person a positive feeling, you are in turn giving a turning on a set of new images to everything. This is where I'm saying, this is not an end, because some people actually decide, oh, okay, I don't have to deal with this guy at all. I don't want to deal with this person at all. However, when you look at it, it is like uh, a, a connection that happens between two people that actually brings, I'm losing my attention because they are showing different angles of that thing. A connection happens between two people, and one person have a feeling of, say, a romantic love, another person have a feeling of nothing. This is usually, they started it. Yeah, there they go. 1 second. I'm seeing a rocket that's flying. Man, I want these guys to be up. Go, go, go. Now that's history in the making. I don't want to miss this. Wow. Oh my God. I'm seeing blank screen. Oh no. I was like, ooh. uh, Give me a minute. Okay. Give me a minute. This will be over in a minute, because NASA and space and SpaceX and all these things. I've been following them for a long time. Even though I'm not a fan of Elon Musk and his you know idea of life and everything in Mars and all. I don't really support all that. But this I like. This is private enterprise flying things into space is beyond the NASA bureaucracy. Eventually, I believe Elon Musk will fly his own thing out there. Uh, we are, you're going into space and today morning I was just watching this, and with this, these, I think they are kids, there were kids there, and I was like, man, they are the future of these missions. And yeah, I think it is quite a big of a success. I think, yeah, if they did it, I can see it flying, man. Wow. I don't know. Let me see this. I'm trying to put the audio. There is no audio. What really,
And one D throttle down.
what really happened? I saw a big puff of clouds, or oh my God! Don't tell me it exploded.
Eco 2 Alpha. Falcon stage separation confirmed.
Two separation
Copy
confirmed.
2 Alpha. MFAC ignition.
That was a separation that I think I saw. No, I thought, okay, maybe it exploded. I have seen a live explosion once. That was Challenger. That was one of the worst things that I have seen in my life.
Signal loss. Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Okay, we will get to that. So when something happens, they will actually going to say something, isn't it? They are showing the launch pad rather than the space thing, because I saw a big puff of smoke. I thought that was a separation. I hope it is not an explosion. That's what I'm actually assuming. Anyway, to the negative parts of things. Okay. So, in a way,
Dragon SpaceX.
why I have this incredible feeling of, that this is not the end of it. That let me reduce the audio. I think it is they are gone out of, they need to get that connection back. And they are saying they are out of connection. See, even they are missing connection. Why I am saying that, some people, it may take some time for, because there are a lot of external factors that comes into play. If I look back at the, these turbulent times of the last, say, 3 years, in 2016, when about October, I had a very, very, very rough project, which I was doing in BMO Harris. And I needed to go to Naperville every day. Then I have this assistant working for me. He was like the most, he is an Indian guy, who is into the modernity of life, and his idea was, it doesn't matter what you do, all you need to do is make money. That's it. So I was like, there are ways to do things. So I was actually mentoring him literally to get to some sort of normalcy. So that is another pressure. And then what need to be done? Everything was going on up, round and round and round. And I was driving, through the snow and all, towards the end of 2016. But the long process that started from that point till now, I think it is 2016 till now. So it will be 4 years, by November. It is a turbulent times because, there were things happening and things not happening. By 2017, then I needed to leave that job, then take another thing. I was working at Boston store, and then, that was another same situation. Then it came to a point where my immigration attorney told me, you should not be working anywhere. I said, like, I got to do a job to earn a living, man. Then he's like, don't do any other jobs, just to do your regular job, the IT job, So, and the IT job, I needed to leave because I think the last post I said, because of a immigration situation where I needed 1 year of visa or 1 year of status, they only gave me 180 days. So, but within the 180 days, I actually got a green card. Then I couldn't get back to the project because the project was already in play. So, unfortunate situations, turbulent things, things happen. So things outside of you happens instead of something triggered by you. If I go and slap my project manager and walk out, which I didn't slap, but I once walked out of a project, if that happens, that's your problem. Things like that happens. But in the same way, at time when I look at her, she was actually in a place. Once she mentioned, her pastor asking her, what is going on with Bonton, because the company itself is in a bad shape. So when you go through all these kind of really weird situations, and then no matter how much positive things you actually put into and wrap into a feeling like this, a romantic feeling, and give it to that person, it's not going to be accepted. You are going to fail. And that's what exactly happened, when you look at that. So external factors are, and then there are a lot of people in between, which I said in the last poem too, the exploration. There are outside influences that comes in. That can be from a very loving group of people, which is most of the time parents and brothers and sisters. Then there are close friends, whom you talk to. They will actually become the negative lighting rod because because they are going to bring it to you. They are going to bring it directly to you. All the weird things and wicked things, and I have no idea what is going on with this satellite, this thing, the space launch. All the weird things, they will say. So that, even though that is not 100% external, at least to a great extent, it is external. But I will say it's partially internal too, because you will follow that. Whatever those things, that happened, there was African American girl who was working there, whom I was communicating to, because I have a very good friend who was working in there. He was an African American, in the lit store, and I used to go there every day. And this girl was there. Once in a while, I used to communicate with her. Sit there and stand there and talk. And she became. I think she became a negative factor in this whole thing because I was not knowing that woman was working in where Little Boss works too. So I think that became a very big negative factor. So later, somebody else also actually, told me, that may have hurt you bad. But because that woman, I don't know, she was a, compulsive liar. So that's the best way I can describe her, a compulsive liar. She will do that, and another person, who works there in that store, told me, yeah, that why would you even say anything about your interest, to her? And I was like, okay, it's my bad. But bad things were happening outside of us and inside of us. It all went bad. Then I went to this spiral to get the green card, and that was a long, what's that? From about March, April, May, June, July, August, September. September 5th, I got the green card. So imagine about 6.5 months of really gruesome time. When people don't listen to you, especially attorneys, when you're dealing with what these working attorneys, and this guy don't even work. I mean, he doesn't do anything. He just sit there. He's an immigration guy. He's just there. And successful liftoff of NASA astronauts aboard SpaceX. Good, they're out there. So that's those things, and I can see many messages coming up right now. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's out there. So everybody was waiting. I need to get back to some sleep too. After I was waiting for this to happen. Um, so that's what it makes people tough, make things tough. So even the most positive things takes a negative turn, and you will end up apologizing for it. So that's the reason why a negative touch title, an apology for loving. So I'm going to come to the poem. It's not a very long poem. I think it is still pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 lines. So not really big. So let me bring this in. And aha, this moved. I don't know why it moved. Okay. The name of the poem, as you say, is An Apology for Loving. Words I choose and prayers for every word I prayed when weaving the sentence that held my apologies. Like a chanting monk, I repeat my verses to solidify words of from my heart birth, wiped clean with tears. Life may throw tantrums at you in material and faith. Pathos once planned to venture will take you to places strange and unknown, and even in them you may find people and events that make you glad and smile. Oh, in one of those moments when happiness in charity given, find a thought, find a glance, or find a scent to a past where I held my hope in affections and weaved dreams, or find that moment as a path to give me forgiveness. Far away at that moment in a tough and rough life I will be, but the pulse of that heart every moment I will feel and kneel I will in prayers of eternal gratitude, as thankful heart I will find ways smile and laugh. When thinking about the pulses of yours, I feel, those are not dreams, as many of those images I love to keep in my heart, where you give me love, and forever in that love, I will love you again and again. Woo! See, I didn't really stumble much like yesterday, or I didn't got emotionally. uh, so yeah, that's the poem. That's an apology for loving. It's a little long, than I myself actually thought. It's no, it's not long enough. Like I thought. The explanation was a little tall, a little long, but I needed to go through that. Even though it is a small paragraph, you needed to give an idea about why I wrote something, from such big situation that somebody told. Um, it's what is that? Oponopono. It sounds a little bizarre, but I don't know whether it works. I just heard that. I didn't really try it, so I cannot authentically say that it is something that works. Or Oponopono. You can look for those kind of things online, on YouTube and other places. I just saw that, this name, it's like, what is this? So said all that, when I'm coming back to some sort of a normalcy, so I like I said, um, coming back to the last sentences I said in that blog post, which is, I'm going to repeat that once more. My love for you will never end because I spent my entire life weaving my love for you, learning from heartache after heartache. If you have watched the um, last poem which I posted here on Facebook, if you watch that show, you will hear me saying that it is a progressive thing that happens where you progress from one heart or one person to another person. You will start loving a person when you are like in, let's say, middle school. After you get out of there and you go into a high school, there you meet somebody, there is a high school sweetheart, and that happens. And maybe there will be multiple, that happens. Then you go into college. In college you will find somebody else, or the same person will be there. But if you change things like that, but even then you will grow. So this changes, the social changes brings in new people, but it is a progression of your own development as a loving person. So you will learn to love more, uh, in that changing social situation. That's what actually I was saying, from heartache, because there are times when relationship doesn't work. um, when I was, in high school, when I had my first relationship, I was in a society where this cannot be out in public. It's very, very, very tough, because the girl was very afraid, because you don't want her parents to know about this. But she said liked it, So it was a heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak, So then when I came to college, there was a thing there. That was a fling fling. I can say I was fling fling. It doesn't really moved into a really great relationship. Of us liked, both of us, loved. We believe we loved, but then it is not going anywhere. So, if I say the history, then there are some others that came up. Even after coming to the United States, there was a couple good ones. And one, both of them acted bizarre. And the last but one, which is, when I say this is the end of it, um, that relationship was very unusual, and it. I took it in such a way that, um, knowing that I was warned. It is a very, one of her friend, actually. This is why I said, like, where people come and say things. One of her friends actually warned me. You are dealing with a very self-centered person. I didn't really believe. Then another person actually warned me, saying that, are you really okay with my daughter, her mother? When I talked to her, and I said, what do you mean by, are you okay with my daughter? Because she said, every sentence she finishes with your name. So are you guys in? I said, you see me. I am way too older. That's the person I told. I'm way too older for this girl. She was way too young. So she should not be, you should not be even suspecting that I'm going to do anything bizarre like that. And she's like, I'm glad to hear that. I said, if in at any point, and she said, I am afraid that she's going to run away to you. I said, if she comes to me, I will take her without any damage. I will get her back to you. That's what I would do. That's me. So that's a kind of relationship that it started there with nothing.
Then after maybe 4 or 5 years, this communication continued for that. It took a turn of events. Then I understood, okay, the self-centeredness and everything started happening all over the place. And right now, the situation is, I recently heard that, she lives in a place far away from where, we were. Uh, and, it is a bizarre lifestyle, she has. And I was like, this is something which I don't know, I will be, any man will ever tolerate. I don't know. I mean, maybe she have a plan. From what it appears, from what I heard, that it doesn't look like, she's doing, a great life. Um, well, I wish her well. So that's me. I wish her well. I hope she will find some peace and solace and whatever associated with it, and lives there. But like I said, there were relationships, but it was a progressive progression that happened from one after the other. This progression continued, and then came this. And when it happened, I know, okay, this is the arc, this is the end of the arc. And I know at that time. But like I said, it was a turbulent time generally for me and anybody associated with me. Um, and I believe it is for her too. And it just, some of the things, even with the connections, were not perfect, so it just had its own frictions associated with it. So that's the reason why these kind of poems are coming. Apology for loving. So nobody apologizes for loving, but I said I'm sorry, for loving. So I just said that. So there I'm going to wrap this. I think I had enough. I think I gave 1 hour time. I don't know where we are. Oh, yeah, I think we are at about 52 minutes. So yeah, I'm there almost. I prolonged it as much as possible because everybody was expecting 1 hour. I am not even looking in the other chat. I cannot read. I cannot read that chat where most of the people, who are saying things into to me, I cannot read because it just keep scrolling, and otherwise I might have privately chat with people. So uh, thank you very much for all of those, who was listening, and we were all there. We were really, looking at the, history. I mean, I love, space travel and all those things, but whether I will ever do a space travel, that was one of the questions that was asked. No, I will not put myself into a space, suit and get into that contraptions, and because the moment I get into a space suit, what the first thing I will say, I gotta take a crap. So yeah, that will happen. Most of the people who knows me closely, they know. You once I go into the toilet, or they'll be like, okay, man, he's done. We are done here, okay. So here we go. So that's just where I don't have the patience to go through this kind of a learning, and I will not put my life in that kind of a risk. Uh, I don't think it is necessary. If it is necessary, yeah, if it is absolutely adamantly necessary that I should put myself into a situation like that to save the world or something like that, yeah, I would do that. But I hope we are not in that situation. I hope we don't need that situation in the future. Like Elon Musk saying, we need to move to Mars. There's a whole lot of people signed up, and I was like, me going to Mars? Nobody. I don't want to go to Mars. Somebody told me at that time, why don't you sign up for going to Mars? I said, why? I think I'm very comfortable in my house. This is where I belong. I'm quite comfortable here, uh, and maintaining this lifestyle is not an easy part. It looks easy from outside. It looks very happy from outside. We all go through our rough times. So don't think that everything is easy. Everything is simple. So that's where I'm going to actually wrap this. Things can get better. Think about things that can get better. Not everything is perfect. No person is perfect. No person can be absolutely perfect. And if you think that a person is going to be packaged with all the goodies, all the greatness, all the fantastic efforts that's going to come out from that person in one package, you have a good dream. Every girl deserves that dream. But
Jay Leno once said about this in a study conducted by I think Harvard and Stanford universities combined. In a study conducted there between girls aged 16 and 25, each and every one has a dream of finding that Prince Charming. Prince Charming is the sort of perfect person, comes on a steed and take you off their feet. Then he said, by the time they reach 40, they will settle for anyone who is not gay.